is a story that is set in a single day in the White House. I don't actually want to give away too much of the plot because I don't want to ruin the fun, and there is just so much riotous and wild fun in this show. I will say that the full title of the play is POTUS, or Behind Every Great Dumbass Are 7 Women Trying to Keep Him Alive. So the play is about 7 women who come together, sometimes as adversaries, sometimes as collaborators, to manage this increasingly out of control crisis that was set off when the president referred to his wife by a very vulgar term for female anatomy in a room full of diplomats and journalists. And then, like any good farce, the situation becomes increasingly topsy-turvy and turns into this just ridiculous, wild mayhem. It's a lot of fun. It's absolutely hilarious. And while there's so much that's, absurd about the show, there's also some serious themes in the show as well. Primarily, the show asks us to look at the effects of misogyny, which is a pretty serious topic, but it asks us to do that through a lot of laughter and a lot of fun. One of the best things about working on the show is that the cast is all female, 7 women, and it has been a great honor for me to be in the room every night with these incredibly talented and brave and hilarious actors. Between myself, the 7 cast members, we have 3 understudies, the assistant director, the stage manager, the assistant stage manager. It is a room full of women and non-binary people, which is rare in theater especially, and really wonderful. We can all see ourselves in the women in the play. We've all had experiences similar to the women in the show, whether we haven't felt seen, or we've been underestimated, or we feel like we have to look or act or talk a certain way in order to be taken seriously. And because we all have those connections to the women in the show, it really brings us to a place of camaraderie and collaboration. And I think we all just feel really invested in coming together and telling this story, because we all feel so connected to the story and we feel really connected to one another. So it's been really wonderful working with this cast. Because this is a farce and the characters are these very boldly drawn people, I think it would have been really easy for them to be caricatures, for them to sort of just be stereotypes of certain kinds of women. But the actors that I'm working with are so talented and so willing to come along with me when I said to them, I really want to dig deeper. And every single day they come to rehearsal and they are ready with not only their lines memorized and ready to do the scenes, but they have all spent time really digging into who these women are. Their shames, their dreams, their hopes, their crushes. It's great because they are bringing all of this authenticity to their characters. These women are not heroes or villains, right? They are at times heroic, but at times they're messy, or, they're unscrupulous, they're goofy, they're silly, they're mean, they make mistakes, and that feels real. These are real women. And so we have done a lot of work to make sure that that comes through in the play. So one thing about POTUS is that it is a political play. It's not partisan. I think that's really important to know. It's not about a particular political party, but it asks us to, think about some pretty serious questions about women in politics and women in leadership. Particularly why we don't see more women in leadership roles. In many ways, the play is probably more critical of men. The president in this play, fictional president, is, not a great model of leadership. He is arrogant. He is not particularly competent at his job, which unfortunately is a lot like a lot of real men leaders that we can think of. So, the president is not particularly competent and capable, and yet he's the president, and these incredibly smart and competent women who are supporting him are not. So we ask a lot of questions about why that's the case. Why do sort of mediocre men sometimes get elevated to leadership, and women who may be so much smarter and more capable never really get there? That's an important question that the play asks. The play, though, is also critical of women and the ways in which women are sometimes complicit in supporting these men, women who enable men who may be hurting them or hurting others around them, and yet they still support them. So it asks that question as well. I think if you've read anything about the play, you've probably read the line about when there are no men in the room, what happens to the patriarchy? And kind of the sad answer is that it's often still in the room. So you'll see in this play that some of the women, speak really terribly about the other women, or get in each other's way, or hurt each other kind of in the same ways that men do. So I think that one of the nice things about the play is that it allows us to examine that this isn't an easy question to answer. It asks us to talk about what it would mean to see women as leaders, but also, what will it take for women to be leaders without still living under the shadow of men? I can't wait to see what that would look like. And I hope that people leave the show talking about that and asking really what it looks like for women to be leaders. There's so much that I love about this show, but one thing that really stands out to me is that there are two characters in the play who have a romantic history. And it is really, really fun to watch the trajectory of their relationship over the course of this single day that they are together. It's just great to see a queer relationship in theater, because we don't see that a lot in plays. So that's been really great. And this is a little part of the plot that when I first started thinking about the play, it didn't necessarily stand out to me, but it's really sweet, and the two actors who play these characters have great chemistry, so it has just been so much fun to watch them and to root for them. So in this current political climate, I think that this play is probably one of the best things that our audience members can do for self-care. And the reason for that is that every person who comes to the show is going to be laughing for an hour and a half. Laughing it's great stress release. It's a great way to deal with hard and challenging feelings and situations. But I think most importantly, it's a really great way to come together as a community. Laughter is unifying. If there are situations where we are feeling divisive and we can't agree, at the very least, we can come together and we can laugh. And as I said, POTUS is not partisan, right? No matter what political persuasion you might have, you're going to come to this show and you're going to see reflections of your own political beliefs in the show, right? You're going to find it funny, you're going to laugh a lot. And I think that's just the most important role of the play, is that laughter is community. Laughter is a way for us to kind of understand that we're all human, that we all really like to feel joy and have fun. And I think that this play will be cathartic in a lot of ways. We're obviously at a very intense, sometimes scary place in politics right now. This play asks us lots of really serious questions, but it does so in a way that, we can laugh about it. And maybe that laughter will loosen us up enough that then we can talk about it and have some of those harder conversations. But I think the most important thing is that it brings us together and unites us, and that's so important right now.